Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we just finished watching Blizzcon2023, the section on Warcraft Rumble. We've got so much news from that segment. So this is my reaction to it. Guys, I'm going to be making so much more content for the game. So click subscribe, and without further ado, let's check it out.
Next up, our game director, Tom, is going to tell you a little bit about what's coming up for the future of Warcraft Rumble. Thanks, everybody.
All right. That's it, guys. That's it. What's next for Warcraft Rumble?
Thanks again. All right, so that brings us to what's next. And it should come as no surprise that we have a ton of new content, new features that we're currently either experimenting with or in production on. We thought it would be fun to give a preview of what the current roadmap looks like.
Let's go.
However, it's worth keeping in mind that, as all of you play the game and you develop opinions about what should come next, seems like that happens with some of you, we expect that things in the roadmap will change to account for your feedback. Believe it or not, I still hear about the dance studio in World of Warcraft that we talked about back around BlizzCon 2007 or so. But maybe it'll come next year, right? Who knows?
I have no clue what he's talking about.
If we're all together again next time and something in here hasn't happened, just remember this fantastic disclaimer. But with that said, let's take a look at what the current plan is. All right, so this is a high-level view of some of the big beats that we're working on.
New seasons, new features,
for starters, we're going to
scroll
cover
events,
new
Moonglade,
seasonal
PvP
content.
updates.
For those of you that are starting the game today or yesterday perhaps, Season 1 just got underway. But given that our seasons are 6 weeks in duration, you can expect updates for every coming season. In addition, we have a variety of new features planned, and those will help round out the game, and we'll cover those in just a bit. We have new map content in the form of a new dungeon and a new zone that are already underway, and those will be making their way into the game in the coming months. And of course, we've got a few updates to the PvP system coming soon as we continue to refine, balance, and spice things up on that side of the game. All right, so with a high-level look covered, let's talk about the seasons. Now, that, of course, starts with Sylvanas. As I noted a few moments ago,
she's unfortunately
been introduced
pretty bad.
as a new undead leader for Season 1.
Very fun, though.
Sylvanas features a rapid-fire single-target attack that deals physical damage. And of course, given that Sylvanas is the Banshee Queen, it's only properly natural, or unnatural, I guess, that once she dies, she's not really dead. She turns into a Banshee and then attempts to possess the nearest enemy unit.
She needs to cost 5, in my opinion.
As with every mini in the game, she also has 3 talents available to her for you to decide exactly what flavor of gameplay you prefer. So you could go with the Black Arrow talent. That turns her single target attack into an elemental piercing shot that can also carry through behind enemies behind the primary
and Forsaken
target,
Fury is pretty good.
doing a bunch of additional area damage. Or you can choose Banshee's Wail, which causes Sylvanas to stun all nearby enemies once she dies, making it a lot more difficult for all of those characters that just killed her to then kill the Banshee before the Banshee can actually possess an enemy. And then last but not least, you could go with Forsaken Fury, which grants fury to nearby undead and horde units. And that really kind of plays into, of course, Sylvanas having been both leader of the Forsaken and eventually becoming leader of the horde. Now, as of now, she's exclusively available this season, both through the PvP ladder, through the war chest, and a bundle. And of course, as new minis that come into the game are featured as part of the season, as the next season rolls around, they become available in the grid once that season has ended. So for now, for those of you that want her and really kind of want to earn your way to Sylvanas, the PvP ladder and the war chest with your guild are the way to go. So that brings us to Season 2.
So make sure to join a good guild.
As you can see,
now
with
Season
each
2.
season for the foreseeable future, we plan to add a new mini to the game. In Season 1, it was a leader, and in Season 2, it's a troop that can be added to any army. And so, the Chimera, it's a highly territorial beast from the forests of Kalimdor. The Chimera has a long history of felling foes in battle. I mean, it may not have been as deadly as a Defias pillager, hiding out in a Westfall farmhouse, but, don't sleep on the Chimera. So it's 2 heads, spew death from above. One of them with, area of effect poison attack, and the other one has a chain lightning area attack. Now, both of these attacks are elemental in nature, but she can be talented in some interesting ways
elemental
that emphasize just different
air
aspects of
beast
the Chimera. So, for
with
example,
poison
you
and
could
chain
select
lightning.
Corrosive Breath, and that talent will deal significantly more damage to
gonna cost
towers,
5, something like
buildings,
that,
and
I would
armored
assume.
enemies because it turns into a siege attack. Or you could go with Jolt, which adds a stun to the lightning part of the attack, interrupting enemy attacks and movement so the Chimera's poison has a chance to build up to more devastating degree. Or you can just keep it simple and go with the dynamic duo talent, and that adds fury to the Chimera's attacks, which makes the Chimera attack faster and faster and faster as it continues to attack. Either way, the Chimera adds significantly to the options that are available to beast armies because it adds a solo, which is non-squad flyer option to the beast family, which is something that the beasts don't have right now. Right now, all their flying units are squads, and so if there's area effect anti-air, then it really kind of handles anything that's beast flying.
Okay.
But not once the Chimera comes out. All right, so next up, we have a sneak peek into some of the minis that are coming for Season 3 and beyond.
Really?
On the screen to your left, hailing from the depths of
The fairy
Blackrock
dragon.
Mountain, we've got Emperor Thorson. And
Emperor
he really kind of
Thorson!
rounds out the Blackrock family as its third leader option.
Yes.
We are working on a few different options for Emperor Thorson's abilities as we continue to iterate on him during our kind of gameplay testing. But the current front runner is that he'll be an armored mini with a fiery weapon and a lava spike attack. The fiery weapon is going to be his melee attack, and the lava spike is actually a ranged area damage attack. And then as for Season 4, we expect the fairy dragon at the center concept to be the new seasonal mini.
They're just
One of
giving
the things that
us
we feel like
all
the
of them
overall
at
mini
once.
landscape
That's
is
crazy.
missing is the flying troop that's resistant to elemental attacks. So the Fairy Dragon is the perfect mini to really kind of fill that role, given its history in Warcraft 3, Heroes of the Storm, and of course, World of Warcraft. Then on your right, we see Ragnaros himself.
Yes.
Unlike other minis described earlier here,
So on Season 3,
Ragnaros
on
is
Season
not going to
4,
be
and
part
on
of the
Season
normal
5, we
seasonal
know.
content. Instead, Ragnaros is going to be tied to the release of the Molten Core raid. And not surprisingly, the reward for defeating Ragnaros will be Ragnaros. Now, we do expect that Ragnaros is going to be an
getting the Molten
extremely
Core
unique
raid.
leader that has some very unique mechanics, one of which involves his summoning via a Majordomo Executus mini. And of course, that'll happen none too soon. Now, as it happens, the topic of Ragnaros leads us to our path towards raids and those supporting features. So, from the game's original initial conception, we've really viewed Warcraft Rumble as a co-op game. One would be really fun to play on your own, but
So
also
2v?
even more fun to play in a party with
Is this
friends.
2v?
So to finally realize that dream, we're planning to create the ability to party with a guildmate and do some end game content and engage in co-op battles via the raid feature that I'll get into a little bit more in just a minute. But in addition, the development of parties and raids really kind of opens up the potential for
Guys, this is so cool. This is exactly what I wanted.
Like questing, Arclight Surges, and of course PvP.
Exactly what I wanted.
So, why play alone and absorb all the blame for your losses when you could rightfully point your finger at your teammate?
This is better than 1v1.
Now, naturally, with the reveal of Ragnaros and co-op raids,
this
it
is
makes
better
sense
than
to spend
1v1.
a little time talking about how raids will actually work. So as I describe the raid system and how it's going to work, you might notice that there's a UI looping in the background and shows off a little bit of how this functionality looks and works in practice. For starters, raids will require the player's party with one of your guildmates in order to take on the raid. And if it takes 3 or maybe even 5 gigantic monitors to get the full effect of a 40-person raid in World of Warcraft, then partying with one mighty guildie is the pocket-sized equivalent. As you enter the raid UI, you might notice that the Molten Core will be split up into 3 wings and then a final boss encounter. Each wing is going to host 2 of the raid's bosses, and each one of those comes with a unique reward. We currently expect the first wing of the Molten Core to begin at level 26, the second wing at level 27, and so on. Then raids will be available for a limited time each season. As more raids are introduced, then they're going to come back into cycle in a similar way that the dungeons work right now.
So we're getting them back.
However, during any given raid cycle, you're going to want to consider what leaders to bring to which raid encounter. Not only do you want to pair an effective leader against a particular encounter, that you're facing, but in the long run, you're also going to want to think about which leader matches up best against the different encounters. And this is because once a leader defeats a raid boss successfully, it's going to get locked to that map for that raid cycle. So early on in your Molten Core adventures, this won't be much of a hurdle because you're probably just going to be using your best army to kind of learn the encounters and learn to beat the early encounters. And then later on during future raid cycles, once you're getting to the point where you can take them all down, then you'll start to more specifically plan which leader you want to use versus which boss.
Okay.
So with the raid system described in a little bit of detail, let's jump into the first swing of the Molten Core. All right, so before we get into the details of these two specific bosses, some of the aspects of raids that you're going to find that are common between all the different maps are that some lanes are actually shared between you and your teammate, but there's also typically at least one lane that has
You can see like one of the
only
maps
for
on the
you
left or
and
right.
one for your teammate. So there's some crossover in some areas, but in other areas it's really up to you to handle what's happening in that lane.
Okay.
In addition, all gold income is shared by both players, or actually given to both players. So as you mine gold, capture chests, etc., you're both going to reap the rewards, reap the benefits.
So half of the map
there's
is
no
yours
need to
and the
race
other
your
half
gold node to the nearest
is your
treasure
teammates.
chest or gold node or anything like that. You can do whatever benefits the team the most. So now onto the specific maps themselves. The Luciferon encounter features two Dominator lieutenants. It's those big flame wakers that you see on that left map there. The Dominator lieutenants mind control the first enemy unit that enters their massive area of control. So be careful about what minis you send toward them. One of the main challenges here is to figure out how to bring the Dominators down effectively. The moment the mini that they've taken control of is killed, then another one is immediately dominated. So, for example, one
Probably
might
like a
think
siege
that
unit?
sending an entire coop of chickens at the Dominator to tank it while a sneaky Worgen, stabs the Dominator from the back is a clever strategy, but that all falls apart the moment the first chicken is dominated, is immediately murdered by all of its angry chicken brethren, causing the Dominator to then turn around and take over that Worgen that you thought was going to be doing a great job doing stabby in the back of the Dominator. So you're going to have to consider sacrificing a mini that has a little bit of survivability to a Dominator so it doesn't go down too quickly. So maybe Footmen, perhaps, for example. Also, keep in mind that while these Dominators don't respawn quickly, there are new ones that are summoned at various points in the battle. So that brings us to Magmadar. Now, Magmadar, the deadliest of dogs, for him, you're going to have to deal with a trio of ancient core hounds before you can actually do much to Magmadar himself. You can expect to have to bring down the ancient core hounds within a short time of each other, fittingly enough, because they resurrect each other when one falls in true core hound fashion. So make sure you bring a mighty death ball on your way to Magmadar. Otherwise, the ancient core hounds are just going to keep respawning before you get much done to Magmadar. It's definitely not the best plan to try to chip away at Magmadar while trickling in some sort of half-hearted death ball. We demand a passionate death ball here. Only that will do. So that brings us to wing number 2. Now, on wing number 2, Gehenna and Shazra and the Gar encounter reside. The Gehenna and Shazra map has the interesting twist that Shazra
There's
actually
so much content in
counterspells any
raids.
spells that are cast by either player. Now, Shazra, which is the boss closer to the front in blue in the screenshot above there, it can be killed before Gehenna in order to remove that restriction. So, don't bring decks or armies that have too many spells that might clog up your hand until Shazra is actually down. Or you can attempt the map without any spells at all. Choice is yours. All right, as for Gar, be prepared to bring armies that feature a lot of elemental killing ability. The streams of elementals are summoned anytime a tower is destroyed by Gar. And you might notice on his map that there are a lot of towers there. There are 6 towers on that map. So you're definitely going to want to hold off on assaulting a tower until you're sure you can keep control
Show us
of
the
it.
map.
Otherwise, things are going to quickly snowball out of control, as any loss of a tower is going to create yet another wave of earth elementals.
Oh, we can see it here.
So in the event that you accidentally take a tower, it can be very valuable to be able to quickly deploy some unbound units to defend it, regardless of where that tower is on the map. So keep that in mind. Now, the third wing of the Molten Core are where Baron Geddon and Golemag are. Now, Baron Geddon's fiery lair of lava strongly encourages players to bring armies that are heavily stacked with flying minis. After all, the floor is lava. Danger, danger. And as for Golem Ag, beware the incineration runes around every tower. These runes are really kind of significantly alter the strategies for taking a tower. It's not just as simple as throwing any old tank at them to get the job done. You're really going to need to more carefully plan which combinations of minis you bring to these towers. Otherwise, you're going to watch your push really kind of melt back down into the gold dust they came from.
Big W
course,
from the Blizzard
what would Molten
team.
Core be without its iconic final boss, Ragnaros? Now, after you defeat the first 3 wings, then Ragnaros unlocks. And Ragnaros is a 4-phase encounter that will test us all. Phase 1 occurs when Ragnaros is submerged.
Phase.
And that includes the summoning of Ragnaros by Majordomo Executus. In Phase 2, we're going to face off against Ragnaros's core abilities of Blast Wave, Meteor, and then also Lava Wave. In Phase 3, Ragnaros submerges for a time and spawns many Sons of Flame. Let me know if you've ever seen that before. And then finally, in Phase 4, Ragnaros returns and gains some additional abilities in the form of Immolation Aura. And all this combines to create an encounter that is very similar in difficulty and complexity to Onyxia herself, maybe even more so, but co-op. And so, it's going to bring an entirely new dimension to what it feels like to beat one of these really complex encounters. And a lot of extra
so excited.
fun. So now that we've had a chance to cover the raid system and the maps that are involved, I'm guessing a lot of you want to know, what rewards there are going to be had to be earned in the
also
Molten
fair.
Core. So let's cover some of that. Now, each wing features powerful and in most cases unique rewards. For example, for clearing the first wing, you'll unlock a boost slot for an army of your choice. The boost slot allows any mini that's placed into that slot to be boosted to a base level of 20, which is the maximum level obtainable via XP. And this gives you massive army flexibility. If you want to try out a mini you don't normally use, no problem. If you just bought a new mini from the grid and you haven't leveled it up yet, no problem. Just slot them into that slot and have fun. Gives you massive amount of flexibility for really kind of playing around with different army compositions.
That is
also,
crazy.
for clearing the second wing, you'll unlock a legendary tome and a legendary core. The raids in the PvP ladder are really the way to earn legendary cores that you'll need in order to finally upgrade a mini to its highest rarity. In addition, for every 2 raid bosses that you bring down, you're going to earn some Valor, and you can use that Valor to upgrade one of your gold army slots that you earn via the dungeons up to a platinum slot. And then, of course, for the final reward, as I already mentioned, you're going to be able to unlock the Ragnaros leader and earn additional star points for defeating Ragnaros, and increases rarity up from uncommon to rare, eventually epic, legendary, etc. So prepare some subtle but effective ways to tell your favorite guildmate to stop standing in the fire, so you can get more cores from the Molten Core. All right, so with raids covered, let's move on and talk about some of the new Dungeon and Zone content that's coming on.
We have more.
Now, as you might expect, we have some new challenges in store for you as we introduce one of WoW Classic's most iconic dungeons, Scholomance. Scholomance features 3 of the most memorable bosses from that dungeon. We have Jandis Barov, Rattlegore, and of course, Darkmaster Gandling. As you build an army that's designed to take these encounters on, you're going to want to prepare for Jandis and her ability to clone herself, Rattlegore's endless waves of graveyard spawns, and Darkmaster Gandling's propensity to teleport your army into rooms full of enemies. Gandling's rooms feature different groups of enemies that you're going to want to strategize around and make sure you're prepared to handle for any of the minis that get sent into those rooms. You wouldn't want to, get the wrong mini trapped in the wrong place. It'd feel a little bit too much like what happened a lot to our guild in Classic WoW. So keep your eyes open for the introduction of Scholomance in one of these content updates that's coming in the coming months. Now, as we continue to add new content for dungeons, we also wouldn't want to forget about the final Kalimdor zone. Moonglade is going to come into the game as the final zone of the campaign,
Nice.
at least for now.
This is the last?
It'll come after Blackrock Mountain. And we have 5 maps that are in progress for the zone, with both normal and heroic versions, of course. The bosses that we're featuring for the zone are Brightwing, Fairy Dragon, a pair of druids, one of the Claw and one of the Talon. We've got Brumaron and Ysera, and also Cenarius. And so the normal version of Moonglade is actually going to range from level 16 to 17, and that's going to put the heroic version starting at level 26 and ranging up to 27. So with a lot of the new PvE content covered, let's actually move on to our next topic, which is PvP.
Yes.
Now, we've got a handful of updates and improvements that are in store for PvP that we'd like to cover today. For starters, we're updating the seasonal rotation system to actually randomize which map gets selected on a per map, per battle basis.
Wait, what?
Rather than featuring the same map for an entire season. In addition,
so we're
adding a new modifier category to replace the current map category that signifies which map lasts for the entire season. And that's going to be in the form of the Siege category. The Siege category features a few new modifiers that are cycled on a bi-weekly basis. And those modifiers are very much designed to kind of alter what the kind of meta feel is of these mechanics. Now, one of them, this one that's currently named Crumbling Towers, that modifier causes captured towers to turn into meeting stones for the rest of the match. Whereas the collateral damage modifier actually causes damage to the opponent's main base anytime one of the towers is destroyed. Now, both of these modifiers are designed to really kind of alter some of your strategic choices about, what armies make a lot of sense for that particular section of the season, and also kind of alter some of the pacing of the PvP battle.
So we're going to have multiple maps,
a very different arc
new modifiers,
of the battle than what you would otherwise see for that kind of couple of weeks. Now, for instance, the collateral damage modifier really helps emphasize map control. And it diminishes strategies that are based around focusing attacks toward an enemy's base exclusively. Those of you who did a lot of that in beta and soft launch, you know who you are. In addition, changes to the cycling of maps and introduction of new modifiers. We're also in the process of adding global leaderboards.
Global leaderboards,
that's
to
support
huge.
The PvP community and their never-ending quest to know who the best of the best are. Now, along with these updates to the PvP system, we actually have a feature in store that a lot of players have been asking for a long time now. A staple of the RTS genre for decades now on PC.
Spectator.
And more recently on mobile.
Replays.
Has been the ability to view and share replays. Fortunately, this is one that
W
we also
the
have
chat
and
boys.
expect to support in Warcraft Rumble. So this is something that has been actively worked on.
We're going to be able to do
not only do
spectate.
replays help players share strategies with each other, given that these replays can be easily shared with others, but they also help players analyze their own play and better understand improvements that they can make. So we're looking forward to being able to add
This
these
is huge
features
for
to the
content
game
creators,
over
guys.
the course of our upcoming feature
Huge.
updates. And those will really kind of roll out over the course of the next year or so. So having discussed some of the new content and the features that are coming to the game, it's time to kind of circle back to some of the cosmetic collectibles that we've been working on.
Can we get skins
Each
for
six-week
units?
season actually will feature the ability to collect new cosmetic items via the war chest and also via the PvP ladder. In our current rotation, every other season is going to
The
feature a
Kobold
tower
Miter
skin
skins.
as one of the war chest cosmetics. With the current upcoming season is actually the Judgment Tower set, so you'll see that in season 2, and then you'll also see
So
some
new
additional
emotes, new tower.
tower sets coming with every other season that happens after that, season 4, etc. Now, as one might expect, we're also going to want to see some of the classic Warcraft tower architecture from the Horde, the Undead, and other races, and we'll be seeing those also soon enough. Then to go along with the tower skins, we also have a ton of new emotes in the pipeline. In our current plans, the new emotes will be added to the PvP ladder each season. And every other season, there's also going to be an additional emote in the war chest. Now, maybe not surprisingly, the overriding focus for emotes is actually to just create emotes that feel really fun and expressive of the characters that are in question. In the middle screen behind me, you can see some of the new emotes that we're planning to introduce soon, whether it's
That Murloc
Mecha
emote is already in
Kobold,
the air. Yeah, already in the game.
Padfoot flexing his favorite tattoo of himself, Murloc's Mighty War Gargle, Safe Pilot meme, Board Nixia, Steaming Pile of Reek, you can expect a moat for every occasion. Now, that actually brings us to our final type of cosmetic, which is our first foray into skins for characters within the game.
Yes.
And we're going to be starting off with the Lowly Kobold, since that's a mini that everybody has right from the start of the game's earliest moments. And
but they're going to start, so they're going to have more
that a lot of players
skins.
would enjoy having the ability to theme their kobold along the lines of the primary families of the game. And so we'll be making the family-themed kobolds available for collection soon. And of course, as we continue our additions of new content, we're also going to be exploring ideas like leader skins. But that's a story for another day, so stay tuned for that.
I want leader skins.
So that really kind of concludes our look into Warcraft Rumble, its history, and what's coming on the near horizon. We honestly couldn't be more excited for everyone to get their hands on the game, and we'd especially like to thank everybody here for joining us here today. If you haven't had a chance to check out the Warcraft Rumble area yet, it's over there in the Warcraft section of the convention. Have yourselves a great time with the game itself, photo ops, and of course community events. And more than anything else, I'd like to thank you again and just say good luck with all your rumbling. So thank you all.
All right, guys. Huge W from the team at Blizzard, working on Warcraft Rumble. We've got so much new stuff. I'm going to try to recap really quickly. I might forget some things, but in PvP we get we have some new skins, first of all. Then in PvP,
Blizzcon2023 would like to thank our partners.
Let's remove that sound. In PvP, we have some modifiers. We have different maps. Now, the maps rotations are not going to be every season. Every single game, you could play on a different map. So that is very, very huge. Every game is going to feel very, very different. We're getting a siege modifier as well. We're getting emotes. We're getting replays that you can share in the guild. That is huge. We're getting global leaderboard. What else? This is huge. This is just PvP. We have a new campaign, campaign area with 3. Oh no, this is a new dungeon. So we get a new dungeon. We get a new campaign area. We get raid, which is huge. It's 2VE. This is the best part of this update of everything, guys. Everything they're gonna bring to the game is so huge, so fun. I am so freaking excited. We also got new units announced. We have let's find that. We have Ragnaros. We have the Fairy Dragon. We have Thorison, which is our last or third BlackRock leader. I believe someone in my chat earlier today predicted Thorison. And we have, how's that unit called? This is the next one we're getting, the Chimera. So 4 new units, new upgrades to PvP. We got raids, and we got a new PvE section of the campaign. You guys, this is huge. I am so freaking excited. Please make sure to tell me down below what you guys think. Tell me what you guys are the most hyped for. Tell me what you guys are the most hyped for. And also, guys, we've created some new guilds, and we can make some more. If you guys are looking for a guild, join my Discord. Go in the guild section. We're going to create more guilds. We're going to have as much as we need, and we're going to find some players to help you during those raids, during the war chest, all of those. So, yeah, guys, also click subscribe. I'm going to make much more content on the game. Leave a like, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.